Hello, good day. So this video is all about the second part of the defined terms. So let's have the defined terms part 2. Okay, so before we proceed with our discussion, let us have this slide for our review. Okay, so you are going to name each figure. So the first figure is this one. Okay, so how are you going to name this figure? Based on the topics or the terms that we have before in our discussion. Okay, so that's correct. So this is array. Next, number 2, we have this figure. What do you call this figure? Yes, this is a segment. Okay, next. Number 3, how about this one? You're right. These are points. Okay, for the next figure, we have. That's correct. That is a line. And for the last figure, we have, okay, so you're right. This is an angle. Okay. So, we have the ray, segment, points, lines, okay, and the angle here. Okay. So, let's proceed with some of the other related terms in geometry. Okay. So, let us have first this slide. Okay, so as you have seen, I have flashed different points and then I am going to draw a line. Right? So let us have the first question. Give the points that lie on the same line. Okay, what do you think are those points that lie on the same line? You're right. We have points A and D, and the other set is points or are points F, G, and H. That's correct. Next, give the points that are not on the line. What are those points? We have, correct, we have point B, point C, and point E is correct. Okay. So, our points A and G lie on the same line? I try to look for point A. So, this is point A and point G. So, again, the question is, are these 2 points A and G lie on the same line? Correct. They do not lie on the same line. Okay, next. Let us have this slide. So again, I have here the points and then the name of the points. Okay, so let us answer the question. Okay, give the points that lie on the same plane. What are those points? Okay, so we have point B, point D, point F, point G, point H, and point C. Okay, so that's all. Those are all the points that lie on the same plane. Okay, next. Give the points that are not on the plane. Okay, not on the plane. So they are the points A and E. You're correct. Next, are points A and G lie on the same plane? Okay, so try to look again for points A and G. So here is point A and here is point G. So do they lie on the same plane? Okay, so you're correct. They do not lie on the same plane. Okay. So let us have this one. Okay, sorry. So points A, B, and C are non-collinear. So take a look on the points A, B, and C. They are non-collinear because they do not lie on the same line. Okay, next. Points C, D, E, F are blank. Again, we have point C, D, E, F. How can you describe those points? Yes, they are coplanar. Correct. Next, points C, D, G, H are blank. They are correct, non-coplanar. And for the last, we have the extending lines below the box represent a blank. So as you have seen, we have here the extending lines. So that's why we have here arrows on both ends of the line. Okay, so we have the extending lines below the box represent a blank. Okay, that's correct. Represent a line. Okay. So to proceed, let us answer the following questions. Describe what are being asked, and let us have the examples after each slide. Okay? So the first question, what can you say about collinear points? Okay, so when we say collinear points, okay, so when 2 points are on the same line, they are called collinear points. Okay, so here is the example of the sets of collinear points. So we have points T, O, M, okay, are examples of collinear points since they are on one line or the same line. And we also have points A, B, and C here. So this is also a set of collinear points. Okay, any question about collinear points? Okay, next. Let us have another question. What can you say about non-collinear points? Okay, so to answer this, when 2 points are not on the same line, they are non-collinear points. Okay, for example, we have here this figure. So we have points A, B, C, and D are non-collinear points. Why? Because C and D, or point C and D, are not on the line. That's why they are called non-collinear points. Okay. Next question. Let us have, what can you say about coplanar points? Okay. So when we say coplanar, when points are on the same plane, they are coplanar points. Okay? From the word plane. So that's why we have coplanar points. Okay? So for our example, we have here the coplanar points A, B, C. And we also have here on the other figure, coplanar points are also A, B, and C. Okay? Because these 3 points A, B, C here on the first figure and A, B, C on the second figure, okay, are all lying on one plane or the same plane. Okay? Next. What can you say about non-coplanar points? Okay, the opposite of coplanar, of course, when we say coplanar, non-coplanar points, they are the points not on the same plane. So for example, okay, so we have here A, B, C, D, and E are non-coplanar points because points D and E are outside the plane. They are not lying on the plane or the same plane, so that's why they are called non-coplanar points. Okay, any question? Okay, so let's proceed with the next question. What can you say about intersecting lines? Okay, so as you have noticed, we have different terms here because this is just the part 2 or this is the part 2 of the defined terms in geometry. We have many defined terms in geometry. So again, what can you say about intersecting lines? Do you have any idea? Okay, so that's right. When we say intersecting lines, these are lines that cross each other at exactly one point. And a point of intersection is their point where is the point where the two lines meet. Okay, so again, that is point of intersection. Okay, for example, we have here 3 examples. So we have the intersecting line CD and AB with a point of intersection O. We also have line ST and line UV with a point of intersection O. And we also have WX or line WX and line YZ. And the point of intersection is O also. Okay, so these are the examples of intersecting lines. Okay, so let's have another defined term. Okay, so what can you say about perpendicular lines? So the previous is intersecting line. Okay, so this time let us have perpendicular lines. Okay, what can you remember about perpendicular lines? Any idea? Okay, so 2 lines are said to be perpendicular lines if they intersect and form right angles. Okay, Take note that intersecting lines and perpendicular lines are different. Okay? When we say perpendicular lines, they intersect, but you have to make sure that the two lines form right angles. Okay? And then the symbol for perpendicular line or perpendicular to is the inverted capital letter T. Okay? So as you have seen on this slide. Okay? So for the example of the perpendicular line, so we have here line AB is perpendicular to line CD, and as they intersect, the lines form the right angle here. So that's why we have here 90 degrees. Not only one right angle, but we have here 4 right angles. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Another example of perpendicular line. So we have here line N is perpendicular to line M, so we may say that M is perpendicular to N. Okay? Next, another defined term is parallel line. So what can you say about parallel lines? Okay? So two lines that never intersect. Very good. So the symbol for parallel to is, okay, so simply looks like small letter L. 2 is small letter L. Okay? So we have here the examples of parallel lines, and another example is line M is parallel to line N. If you are going to write in symbol, this will be M is parallel to N. Okay? Next, another defined term, we also have the opposite rays. Okay? So we have already discussed about the rays, wherein when we say opposite rays, okay, two rays with a common endpoint, but extending in the opposite direction. Okay? So how it should be? So two rays with the common endpoint. Okay, so we have here the opposite rays are ray ZX and ray ZY. Okay, so the common endpoint of these opposite rays is point Z. Okay, did you get it? Okay, next, let's have another defined term, which is midpoint. What can you say about midpoint? From the root word, yes, or from the prefix mid, it means middle. Okay, midpoint. Okay, midpoint is a point on a line segment that divides it into two equal parts. It is the halfway point in a line segment. So it should be found, it will be found at the middle of the line segment. Okay, so for example, we have here, okay, point B as the midpoint of segment AC because B is at the middle of line segment AC. Okay? Therefore, if B is the midpoint of segment AC, we may say that segment BA is equal to segment BC. Okay? Or segment BA is congruent to segment BC. These two segments have equal lengths. Okay? Next, another defined term. We have adjacent angles. Okay? So what do we mean, or what can you say about the adjacent angles? Okay? So if two angles like A and B, for example, have a common vertex and a common side, then they are called adjacent angles. Okay? So what is the figure or example of the figure of adjacent angles? Okay? So again, we have the common vertex and common side. So we have here angle A and angle B are adjacent angles. Okay? So in Tagalog, magkasunod, magkatabi. Okay? Next, another term, we also have the linear pair. Okay? Linear pair. So it means two pairs or two pieces of angles. Okay? If two adjacent angles like A and B have their non-common sides forming a straight angles or opposite rays, then they are called linear pair. Okay? So this is an example of linear pair wherein angles A and angle B, since they are adjacent and formed opposite rays like this, and we have here now a linear pair. Okay? Next, another defined term is the supplementary angle. So what can you say about supplementary angles? Okay? So if the sum of the measures of two angles are 180 degrees or is 180 degrees, then they are said to be supplementary angles. Okay? So again, so for our example, angle A and angle B are supplementary angles because angle A is 120 degrees, angle B is 60 degrees, so 120 plus 60 is 180 degrees. So again, they are supplementary angles. While the next defined term is the complementary angles, wherein when we say complementary angles, okay, so they are the angles wherein the sum is 90 degrees. Okay? So again, if the sum of the measures of two angles is 90 degrees, then they are said to be complementary angles. Okay, so for example, we have two examples here. Angle A and angle B are complementary because angle A is 20 degrees, angle B is 70 degrees, so 20 plus 70 is 90. Another examples of complementary angles are angle C and angle B here. Okay, so we have here 30 degrees plus 60 degrees is also 90 degrees. Okay, so I have here typographical error. So this may be angle D. Okay. Next. How about the angle bisector? Okay. So when we say angle bisector, it is a ray that divides an angle into two congruent angles. When we say two congruent angles, okay, you have to divide that into two equal measures. Because when we say congruent, they should have the same measure. Okay? So in this example, okay, as you have seen, ray BD is the angle bisector of angle ABC. Okay? So again, ray BD is the angle bisector of angle ABC. Therefore, the measure of angle ABD is congruent to or equal to the measure of angle DBC. So these two angles now are equal or congruent. Okay? So I hope it is clear about the angle bisector. Another is about the segment bisector. If we have the angle bisector, we also have the segment bisector. Okay? So if angle bisector divides one angle into two equal parts or two equal angles, when we say segment bisector, it is a point or a line or a segment that divides the segment into two congruent parts. Okay? Segment ang hahatiin ngayon. So we have here, segment or ray MO is a segment bisector of LM and MN. So we may say that LM or segment LM is congruent to segment MN because it was bisected by our segment or ray MO. Okay? So it divides the two or the line into two congruent parts. Okay? So I hope it is clear to you all the defined terms in geometry. Okay? So let's try to answer this. Okay? So you are going to write the letter of the correct term beside each definition. Okay? So I hope you're going to try. So let's have number 1. The point at which two lines intersect. That is, what do you think? Correct. The point of intersection. Next, number 2. A set of points in a straight path that extends infinitely in both directions. That is, correct. a line. So letter K. Next, let's have number 3. Two lines that form right angle at their point of intersection. What do you call that? Two lines that form a right angle at their point of intersection. Correct. That is letter I, which is perpendicular lines. Okay. Next, number 4. It is the position in space, often represented by a dot. What should it be? Correct. The first lesson in geometry, that is a point. So that is letter B. Okay, so take note of the answers. Again, number 1, if you are going to recall, number 1 is, can you still remember? Okay, that's correct. So we have here, number 1 is D. Then number 2 is K. Then number 3 is I. Number 4 is B. Okay, so let's proceed. Number 5. A finite portion of a line that has two endpoints. What should it be? Correct. That is line segment with two endpoints. So that is letter J. Next, number 6. 3 or more points that lie in the same line. What do you call them? Correct. They are, yes, letter H, collinear points. Okay. Next, number 7. We have a point that bisects a line segment. So what should it be? Correct. That is a midpoint. So that is letter F. Next, number 8. Lines in the same plane that never intersect. What do you call those lines? That's correct. They are parallel lines. So letter G. Next, a portion of a line that extends from one endpoint infinitely in one direction. What do you call that? That's correct. Letter C, which is ray. Next, number 10. A flat surface that extends infinitely in all directions. What do you call that? Yes, that is a plane, letter L. Next, number 11. Two rays that share an endpoint and extend in opposite directions to form a line. What should it be? Yes, that is opposite ray. So, letter A. Next, number 12. Something that relates to or resembles a line. What do you call that? Yes, that is linear. Next, 3 or more points that lie in the same plane. What do you call that? Yes, they are coplanar points. Next, if 3 points are coplanar, then the line containing 2 of the points is in the same plane. So, what is your answer in number 14? Yes, that is a flat plane rule. Okay. So, let's now proceed with the next slide. Write the letter for the correct term beside each diagram. Okay, so I have already reviewed you or recalled you earlier. So, let's have again this one. So, number 15 is, okay, sorry. So, number 15 is, correct. It is a line. Okay, how about number 16 on the right side? This is a, correct, letter C, segment. How about number 17? This is a figure about, yes, letter F, collinear points. Number 18, they are, correct, intersecting lines. So, letter A. 19, we have, what do you call these lines? Correct, they are parallel lines. So, letter D. And the last number is number 20. What do you call this figure? What does this figure represent? Okay, correct. So, this represents the coplanar point. So, letter E. Okay? So I hope it is clear to you all about the defined terms in geometry. So that's all for this day. Thank you for watching.